when it comes to women that are doing well, a lot of the conversation is that women that are in high-powered jobs or whatever, or financially independent, are always like, I don't need a nigga for shit. Da, 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 da. You always hear men saying, these are why those women are single. How do you make sure to coach correctly, make sure we're feeling validated by our money, feeling like accomplished, but also not being so submissive? How do you coach for that?
Right. So I'm going to go back and say that's what they say, and the theys are the ones who can't afford that lifestyle anyway. So I don't listen to the theys, right? So the men who have the time to argue in the comments are the ones who aren't busy
That's
working.
real.
They're not they don't tend to be financially sound or financially secure, right? So I'm not too concerned about them, but it doesn't mean that they're not being heard. So I'll still address it. What I find is that busy professional women don't tend to be assholes. They don't tend to be extremely difficult or lack submission or any of those things. The issue is that they are not going to follow foolishness. They're not going to follow any old person, any old where or how, because they are intelligent enough to realize and recognize that that plan is unreasonable, that can't be executed. I have a better plan. Follow along with my idea and let's do this thing together. So that's where the real issue comes along. I want busy professional women to recognize that listening to the folks online is a waste of your time. There are plenty of professional, polished, reasonable men who exist who are more than happy to date someone and be in a relationship with someone who is their equal.
I'm glad to hear you say there's plenty because, you know, we talk shit a lot and joke on this pod and act like the pool is so scarce. And it feels good to hear someone say that it isn't.
It isn't. It isn't. It's a scarcity mindset. And again, going back to that original point, there's a lot of conversation that talks about, marriage is terrible, relationships are so hard, right? Who are the people who are saying that? It tends to be the people who are either not married or they are actually unhappy in their marriage or divorce. So the thing is that the happy married people are too busy being happily married to be on somebody's internet to be arguing. The men who are professional, the men who are working hard, the men who have a plan, the men who are executing are too busy to be on the internet to be arguing, hey, I actually like busy professional women.
What if it's not the internet? What if it is conversation that girls are having with their other girlfriends about how marriage sucks or relationship sucks? Do you think we're kind of infecting each other with that?
Oh, yes, absolutely. And again, the happy people are too busy being happy. I think it's Fab who said, like, happy hoes ain't hating and hating hoes ain't happy. Like, when you are so busy being upset, right? Like, mad random Brooklyn shit, right? So when you're so busy being overwhelmed, upset, frustrated, you're going to want to share that. And then many times when you're happy, you're too busy being happy. I mean, of course you'll share something. Hey, my husband bought me some flowers. That was so nice. But I'm not going to talk to you for 25 minutes about how beautiful these flowers are. If he pissed me off, that's an hour-long voice note conversation, right?
I mean, I think that's the difference too, right? There's discernment in what you share with your homegirls. And a lot of times you want to vent about things that bother you or things. So unfortunately, instead of like boasting about all the great things, especially if your friends aren't in healthy relationships or are single, you go to them to vent just when things are going bad.
Yeah.
So that again, I guess, creates this idea that everything sucks and everything's bad.
Yeah.
When
the other side of it too is that those men are literally busy. So not they're too busy to be on the internet, right? But they also are literally building their empire. They're working 50, 60 hours a week. They're looking at investments. They don't have the time to be socializing as much. So that might mean that the guys who are in the club every Friday that ain't shit, you're going to meet them frequently if you're in those places.
Can I ask you a question though? Does it make sense for a woman who, say, is at a C-suite level or who's very busy and all these things, specifically professionally, do you actually feel like her match is an equally busy, equally successful man?
Many times.
Really?
Many times. And I'm going to tell you why.
Really?
Many times.
Okay.
So, number one, that gentleman is going to understand and appreciate her struggle. So, remember there was a couple of years ago where there was a conversation online about entrepreneurs only dating entrepreneurs and not wanting to date the 9-to-5 man.
V. Simone said, she didn't want to date a 9-to-5.
And even though that wasn't received well because maybe the messaging was off or the tone was off, it is a reasonable conclusion. Now, I'm not saying that you only date the C-suite, you only date the entrepreneur, you only date the investor, but they can have an appreciation for your schedule, for your hustle like no one else can. It doesn't mean the 9-to-5 man can't be supportive and can't see and value it, but it's a lot easier with someone who's literally doing the work that you do, right?
Even though there may be a lack of time that the two
Wait, are we
actually had to
calling
spend
9 to
together.
5 and corporate two different things?
Oh, yes. Oh,
Yeah.
oh, sorry. Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause I
A
was-
9 to 5 person is different than a person who runs their say partner and staff
Because
one.
corporate, I
Yeah.
call corporate and 9 to 5 the same thing. So I guess two things here. Like I'm just thinking about my last relationship. Although it wasn't successful, he was very understanding of work. My relationship wasn't successful. He was. He was high up in a bank, tech level, and was working virtually, so he could support me, travel with me, whatever. I found that dating that 9 to 5 person, which I considered him to be, was successful, even though I was on my entrepreneurial journey because he still had the language to be able to talk business with me.
Yeah.
Now my partner is in real estate. He's an investor. So he's got way more time on his hands because he's not doing something every single day. Same amount of money, good money. But yeah, I don't know. For me, I think it's the time.
Yeah.
So that's why when Mandii made that comment, we've been talking a lot about our relationship. He's like, yo, if I was still a 9 to 5 guy, I don't know how successful our relationship could be because he's traveling with me so much to be on set, to do different things and support me. And so it's like, how much, I don't know. Is there any way where the high-powered woman could date? Now, my man isn't making less, but he isn't in the office like I am.
Yeah.
Is there a chance that someone could be?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
So could you ever recommend that these high-powered women not date down, but maybe aren't shooting for the stars like where they're at?
Is there advice with that too? Like, do you speak to a woman and be like, actually, maybe you should consider the guy who works at Target? Is that ever advice?
I don't know about Target.
All right,
I ain't say Target.
No.
Okay.
First off, we can shit on Target right now because they removed their DEI. So fuck Target. But also, like, do you recommend, like Weezy said, saying, okay, maybe just getting someone who makes just enough?
Like I dated a bartender, right? Before these two men who are successful at what they do. And there was a big gap.
Yeah, you hated that shit.
It was very
She was
difficult.
like, bleep out what he does.
It was really difficult.
Yeah.
Like he loved his work.
Difficult for who?
I feel like both of us.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll say why. There were times where I wanted to maybe go on vacation somewhere and I knew it may not be as feasible.
Yeah.
I was uncomfortable with making recommendations. I felt like he had something in his head with keeping up. He would constantly remind me that he was happy with his life, as if he was almost fearful that I wanted him to be more ambitious.
Yeah.
I felt like there was a bit of a clash there.
Yes.
So that's why I'm curious what that looks like. And he was a confident man in himself, but I do think it can get a little bit weird when the person you're dating is doing a lot more.
Yeah.
So I would ask then, for those women that may pass by the good guy or the great guy, and he was a very good man, loyal, it just didn't work out.
Right.
Can it work?